Hello everybody, how you doing? It's Sean Connors, co-founder and CEO with eTeam Sponsor. Welcome back to our webinar series. Really excited to jump into our event-driven campaigns and Giving Day focus here for today. It's the spring, it's the time of year where high schools and colleges across the country are engaging their constituents, they're engaging their alumni, and they're asking for support. Really excited today to talk to you about some of the best practices that people in athletics, in the foundation, in advancement, are utilizing to bring those two worlds together and help provide more support for the student athletes, the school, and their collective mission that comes from their university or school president. Really excited today to have Brandy Kortulewski from McKendree University in Illinois, as well as one of NACDA's Hall of Famers, Jim Abbott, founder of BOSCA, the Business of Small College Athletics, and a longtime athletic director at Oklahoma City University.
Okay, I'm Jim Abbott. I am the former athletic director at Oklahoma City University, and I'm also the founder of the Business of Small College Athletics.
I am Brandy Kortulewski. I am the Assistant AD for Development at McKendree University.
All right, Brandy, thanks for joining us here this morning. This is one of the great things that I think we as a company try to achieve is educate and empower as many people as we possibly can. And really, those stories are best told from the people that we aim to serve, but also to I think that your peers really look to people like yourself to say, hey, great, what's working? How are you getting this done? So we're pleasure to have you here this morning, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
All right, great. Well, we have had a lot of success at McKendree. I think we've been working together for about a year. We're going to kind of park that. We're going to put that on the side. We want to talk a little bit more just about your experience in your role. We know at the NCAA Division II level, they're definitely unique a set of circumstances, how you operate, all of those things. And today we really want to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit and talk a little bit about why advancement and development, working with athletics is so important. We'll get into some of the best practices and really just how that relationship that you've helped to develop at McKendree, how that has impacted the athletic department and or maybe even transformed the way the working relationship is between advancement development and athletics. So we'll jump right in. We'll start with the why. Why is advancement / development and athletics working together so important in your opinion?
Yeah. Just a little bit of background I want to give you real quick. So my position is actually new. So they, so they never had anyone specifically just in athletics. It was strictly just advancement that was on upper campus.
Okay.
So I've been here for about a year and a half now. And I'm actually a graduate from McKendree, a student athlete. I was a bowler here and graduated 2013. So I understand the importance of fundraising for athletics because you want to make that experience for the student athlete the best experience that they have. But I think working with advancement, just making sure you have that open communication with them because there potentially could be some, donors that they know of that I might not know of that I can build that connection with to help raise money on this side of campus.
Having athletics and advancement working together is critical to success because, for most of us, we're at smaller universities, so we're resource limited. Maybe there was a time where fundraising was not a required skill in athletics, but it certainly is now. And so if you work on a campus and every campus has an organization, an advancement office or a foundation office whose primary responsibility is to cultivate and develop relationships that lead to gifts, then if you're going to be as productive as you want to be, then you have to have that ability to work together to achieve that. And truly, whether those efforts lead to specific gifts to athletics or just gifts to the university, it's all beneficial. We in athletics have very full plates. We have to manage in some cases, 400 or 500 or 600 student athletes. We have to manage coaches. We have hundreds of competitions during a year. And so really, getting that assistance, having an entire office who can help pave the way to success in this area, I think is really critical. And very important that athletic directors and athletic development people understand that the real key to maximizing your external revenue is to have a relationship, an open relationship that serves to better the institution and the department.
Tell me a little bit about the newness of this role. Like, what prompted it? What type of role were you in previously? How did they seek you out? How does advancement now with athletics work specifically with you and your role?
Yeah, so I think they just saw a need for athletics. Like, we have 36 programs, going to be 37. We're getting D3
Wow.
hockey back. Yeah, so
Wow.
there's a lot of programs here at McKendree. So they saw a need for, our baseball field may need turf, softball field may be turf. How are we going to raise money for that? So we need someone here in this position to help do that. So that's why they brought me in. I also do corporate sponsorships too, and that's something that they've never done here at McKendree. So that's something new that we're doing as well to help raise money for these programs too.
You were at Oklahoma City University for 30 years. Is that
It
correct?
felt like 30, but it's more like 20.
Okay. All right. Multiple decades. We'll go with that. So you're speaking from, I'm sure, a wealth of experience. What are some of the best practices that you either implemented on your own or that you saw implemented that led to or ensured a great working relationship between advancement and athletics?
Yeah, so in 20 years, I think I worked with about 5 vice presidents for institutional advancement. And they're all a little different. But the key really is just communication early and often.
Yeah.
And I think understanding my role. I think it's very important that athletic directors understand what their role is for the university. And that can take many different shapes depending on the school. But in terms of best practices, I held staff meetings, for example, athletic staff meetings twice a week. We had a designee from advancement attend those meetings. We wanted them with our people regularly. We wanted them to be part of the team. We wanted them to hear a coach complain about some of their challenges or talk about some of their opportunities so that they could, one, understand what the greatest needs are, and two, work to try to help them. Later in my career, we had a vice president who made the decision that we would hire a full-time person for athletic development. So
Great.
Number one is just that consistent communication to make sure that they are engaged and aware of what athletics needs are. And then I think two is reciprocating that. What I understood on my campus in particular was that there were some donor prospects in the world that needed to be utilized for other university priorities.
Yeah.
I would say another key is the exchange of information. We in athletics, and let's just look at an example of a veteran coach.
Yeah.
You have a coach who's been on campus for 30 years. They know people. They have relationships that are with alums who are at a point in their life where they have more disposable income. And so it's not uncommon, and not just in athletics, but maybe in the School of Music or in the chemistry department, that people keep their secret lists of prospects. And that's just not a good practice. It's the advancement office generally is going to employ full-time people who manage that information. And you got to be in the practice of sharing every tidbit that you have, because like it or not, the ability to generate revenue is a skill.
Yeah.
And some people have a natural capability. Some people have relationships that are just going to help you be successful. But more than anything, you have to manage the information. You have to realize, okay, we've just made an ask at this point. Here's what the next step is. And so communication and working together and sharing information is a best practice. And let me tell you, Sean, there are lots of schools that are horrible at it. And from both directions. I'm not just blaming athletic departments. There are institutional advancement offices that don't want to support and facilitate what's going on in athletics. And so when I talk to administrators out there, they're just, it's almost like, no, they won't give us a list of alums because they want to only ask them for university priorities. And so I found that the folks that I worked with in advancement they counted every dollar I raised. So when I raised money, they looked good.
Sure.
And they felt like I was invested in their success as much as they were invested in mine.
Yeah, that's great. Well said.
So we do monthly meetings. Actually, we meet twice a week, just to see like, okay, what are they doing on their end? What are we doing on our end? How can we work together to make what we're doing, say, trying to think here, like the golf tournament
Sure.
that I'm working on right now for athletics. They may have people, for example, they have a database of all the alumni. So I need to reach out to all the alumni, whether it's via email, whether it's a postcard. I don't have that information unless I work with them. So that's one of the main things. Alumni is a big when it comes to advancement.
Yeah. I bet is the so consistency, it sounds like, in the communication. You guys are meeting bi-weekly, it sounds like, or
Yep.
And you also have a monthly meeting. That's great. Is there anything that you've taken from maybe just from a strategy and tactic standpoint? Is there anything that you do or in those meetings that you think would be of a benefit to share with your peers in terms of, hey, during this meeting, we focus on this, or when we meet once a month, the focus is on that?
I'm trying to think. We just actually started our meetings back up not too long ago, but we kind of just go around the table. So in advancement, we have 7 people that work on different things. So each meeting that we have, we go over, okay, this person's focusing on this person's focusing on this. How can I chime in and help that person? So that's kind of where we are and kind of how we work with that. And just having that open communication and trust and makes things better.
Yeah, absolutely. If there are athletic directors out there, if they're saying, look, that reciprocated flywheel of open, consistent, as you said early, and often communication does not exist, how would you recommend them to it sounds like they maybe have more of a tug of war or there's just a big wall that's up between them and advancement. What type of recommendation would you give to them?
Yeah, I think every circumstance is different. For an athletic director in particular, you have got to break down those silos on campus. And so it's not just my responsibility. I think it's everyone's responsibility to be engaged beyond the athletic department. What I would do, I guess my first piece of advice would be the person who creates the priorities for the university is the president. So step number 1 would be to sit down with the vice president for advancement or the head of the foundation or whoever that might be, to answer the question of how can we work together better? Yeah. If I have 500 athletic alums and only 100 of them give, wouldn't it be better for the institution if we were able to increase that by 20% or 50%?
Sure.
And so if I couldn't get to that symbiotic relationship by a one-on-one meeting with that peer, then I would probably go to the president and say, here's where I'm at. I've asked for a list of alums that we might call on, and they've refused us in an effort or in a hope to get the president, who, again, the president is the person who will tell advancement, here's your priorities.
Sure, yeah.
Rarely, and we have to accept this, rarely is athletics going to be at the top of that list.
Yeah.
It's almost always going to be unrestricted giving for the institution, some specific educational science building, capital project, something like that. So we've got to be astute enough to realize, look, the sun doesn't, the world doesn't revolve around us in athletics. But I think that's what my advice would be. My advice would be, if you're getting $300,000 now and you need to keep that for the university, great. Let me help you, and anything above 300 will go directly to athletics.
I think we've been working with McKendree now I feel like we're still in our first year with you.
Yeah, I think I think next week will be our first year mark, actually.
First year mark. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we're coming up. This is perfect. All right. So we're coming up on 1 year. Looks like you guys have raised about $325-ish thousand so far. How has, I guess, working, advancement, your role in development, advocating on behalf of athletics, how has this process worked? I mean, it's a lot of money obviously has been raised, but just how has that, what have the dynamics been like? Because there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, no, first off, I mean, wow, this program is amazing. And
Great.
what we like about it and what the coaches like about it is they're pretty hands off. They don't have to do much. I mean, they just tell their student athletes, get your 20 emails, plug it in, and from there, you guys do all the work. And I think that's what they like, because they're here, they're coaching their student athletes, they're trying to win games. So, this is one less thing they have to worry about. And, on the advancement side, when they're seeing all the money come in, it's like, wow, we didn't know what to expect. We thought maybe we'd get half of the money we raised, and it's amazing to see.
That's awesome. That's great. And advancement, hey, you get to take credit for it, right? It shows up under the money that they raised for the institution. So you can add in the 325. Oh, that's great. Well, and again, I think that's for us as we look to share this with the masses. It's, look, what are some of the dynamics that are in play? And I think you just, I think you eloquently framed it that, hey, look, like you raise the money, it comes in. Most people are typically in the same boat. Hey, we're surprised we raised this much money and this is great. It's been easy. So if it's never not like that, please let us know, because that's what we're aiming to do. Okay, great. And then, last part would just be, is there, is there the key to success moving forward for you and your role, especially because it's new? Is there anything that, a key learning? Hey, this is the key to my success moving forward in my role. What would you share?
Oh gosh. I think just being able to, now that the coaches have seen this, we got year one underneath our belt, they understand that this works. Cause I think that's what they were a little worried about. Cause, they tried so many different avenues on how are we going to raise this much money for what they need in their program. And now that we've seen this work, they trust it. Yeah. And now going forward, I feel like they're going to I don't want to put more effort into it, because before they're like, I don't know how this is going to work. Now, I mean, it's full go. And I think that they trust me, and what I tell them, they take to heart. So now they're just having that trust between the coaches and me. And then now we can put forth on what we want to use this money for each of the programs.
We just had Brandy over at McKendree University on and talking about just a great well-oiled machine, and communication is the key to their success right now. It was that simple, and that communication led to trust, and the trust then generates the commitment they need to go accomplish what they want to. Pretty simple. So great to hear that even on the other, if in a different scenario or situation where there is maybe those imposed challenges or impasses, it can be figured out through communication, and that's great insight. My last question would be, how have you seen a well-oiled advancement in athletics machine impact an athletic department in a positive way? Or, hey, how have you seen what athletics has been able to do from a revenue generation standpoint? How has that transformed what advancement was able to do?
Yeah, I think there are many examples, personal examples for me. inevitably, in my opinion, if you have a large capital project, it will require the involvement of your advancement office.
Yeah.
So on my campus, the biggest one I was involved in was an $11 million rowing facility. And that's just not the kind of thing that athletics at a small private institution is going to have the relationships to successfully fund in a prompt manner. So because we had that relationship, because we got presidential buy-in that this is a priority, we were able to work together, to go on calls together, raise the money together, and be successful. I can tell you similarly that there were a number of times that we had athletic alumni make gifts that didn't come to athletics that benefited the larger university.
Sure.
And so if we're all doing our job, which is cultivate relationships, know the vision and the direction and the priorities of the institution, we ought not to be worried. And I won't lie to you. I mean, we probably all think if an athletic alum gives money, it should come to athletics.
Yeah.
But guess what? It's not about me. It's about the donor.
Yeah.
And I think that's where challenges exist sometimes, is that we forget about the idea that donors are motivated and passionate about specific things.
Yeah.
Soccer alums rarely want to give to volleyball, and basketball alums rarely want to give to baseball. I'm not saying it never happens. I mean, as much as anything, those people might generally give to athletics, but at the end of the day, we have that ability to, because we're aware of the priorities and because we know why it's important, to bring people together to support projects, whether it benefits me directly or whether it benefits me indirectly because it makes the university stronger.
Yeah, I think just the best advice I've heard in a while. I really do. I think we've seen so much get in the way of athletic advancement, right, or athletic development, because far too often ego gets involved, right? And I think that's something that just really, really keen insight. And I think for most people, they would agree with you, whether they've chosen to take that advice and implement it that way or view things that way. I think they would all agree that that's the right way to look at it. So, well, good. Well, I'll let you sign off with this. What's if there was anything that you would say that you haven't already, to say, hey, if you want to bridge that gap between advancement and athletics, or you want to create that kind of magic alchemy, if you can, between athletics and advancement, what would it be?
I think instead of, the way to do it is this: don't go into the meeting thinking about here's what I need. Yeah. Go into the meeting with this true idea of understanding what's important and what are your priorities. Because advancement, and I've said this twice now, I think it's important to say it one more time. Advancement will take their direction from the leadership of the university. And for small schools, that's one person typically, from the president. Mm-hmm. Now, that may also have interaction from the board. Sure. Here is your priority. And so if we from athletics can just hesitate long enough to understand that hey, the university success is more important than the athletic department success, or the biology department success, or the music school success. I mean, that ought not to be super hard to understand, but it is for many of us.
Yeah.
So I think if you can go into that meeting with that understanding, and then if you can share what I believe to be true, which is we can both succeed here without having any impact on your priority, or any negative impact, then I think you can get there.
That's awesome.
Because until you've reached the point that 100% of your former student athletes and 100% of their parents and 100% of former donors are giving to you every year, then you're never going to reach your full potential. And none of us are ever going to hit that level.
Yeah.
So I think it's never too late to shut up a little bit and to quit worrying about yourself a little bit and to understand the greater picture, and then position yourself to support those initiatives while also growing and gaining their assistance with your priorities.
I love it. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's where the saying rising tides raise all boats, right? That's where I think of that analogy as well. And yeah, well, that's great. This is going to be fantastic for us to be able to share. I appreciate you popping on.
For those of you that don't know who eTeam Sponsor is, number one, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. A little background on who we are and why we're here today. Number one, eTeam Sponsor, we've been around for 14 years. We've raised over $200 million for schools nationwide. We've created a fantastic online digital fundraising application that's allowing high schools, 2-year colleges, and 4-year colleges to enhance the student athlete experience by raising thousands of dollars for these institutions. eTeam Sponsor's vision is to reduce the cost barrier for student athletes to participate in athletics. We know that our society, our country is in a better place when we have more student athletes learning about work ethic, discipline, commitment, teamwork. And we want to foster as much of that as we possibly can. And we want to see more student athletes participating in high school and collegiate athletics. We play a part, we bear a responsibility in making that happen. For those of you that are familiar with who we are, you've had a chance to experience that. Today's going to be great because you're going to be able to see some of the new features and functions that we've upgraded. We have a new user interface and user experience when it comes to our Giving Day platform. Our event-driven campaigns are helping raise hundreds of thousands, if not millions, for our clients across the country. So without further ado, let's have you jump right on in and take a look at all the new features and functions with our event-driven campaign and our Giving Day platform.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, everyone. I am Kayla Johnson, Client Solutions Manager here at eTeam Sponsor. I'm so excited to dive into this new event-driven campaign feature for your next Giving Day. Let's get started. This feature is designed to streamline your campaign management process and drive exceptional results. Our new event-driven campaign feature empowers you to create, deploy, and optimize your next Giving Day with ease. We designed this feature to engage your institution's community of support by leveraging Affinity to generate revenue and acquire net new donors. From institutional control of messaging, branding, donor data, and gift processing for campus-led fundraising, we've got you covered every step of the way. I'm so excited to take you through our Giving Day UI and UX. We know how impactful Giving Days can be for our clients, especially here in the spring when they are typically planned to launch. We will walk you through the main elements of our event-driven campaign from a feature and functionality standpoint. I will be taking you through that visually as well. Here is the first thing I'm going to cover, which is the organization landing page. This is what the public, what your donors are able to see. This is branded. There is the organization name, school mantra or mission statement, gross funds raised for ongoing campaigns that are further segmented by program and current ongoing individual fundraisers. I'm going to next cover how easy it is to customize these components that show up on this page. Here you can see this is where you are able to edit those components. I will go ahead and click Edit Landing Page, and here you'll see you can upload a different logo, a banner, you can change the organization name, mission statement, mantra, all of this is fully customizable. If I go to edit background, there are upload, move, delete options for this image here. This is a great place if you are fundraising for a specific building or to upgrade certain facilities. This is a great way to tie an image of that here into your organization event-driven campaign landing page. This is where you can upload your logo and you can upload any of this wording with the click of a button and just click save to have those changes saved on this landing page. The next thing I'm going to cover is the customization of messaging. This is an individual program fundraising page. This is the women's soccer page. And as you can see, they customize what their needs are for this season that they are fundraising for. This is the best practice. You are also able to customize this initial welcome message as well as activities that the program is up to, accomplishments of a current or past season for this program, completely customizable on these fundraiser landing pages. The last thing I'm going to cover is the reporting aspect. I am back on this organization page, and by clicking donor report, this window opens. This is where you can export these donor reports. You'll see you have options to export them for the month, the last 6 months, all time, as well as custom date range. The custom date range is awesome for many reasons, but especially if you are doing an event-driven campaign, a giving day, maybe you just want to pull the donors that donated during that active time. You can type in a custom date range here and download the report. This will be exported as an Excel file, and with an upgrade to DonorSync, you can export it into your Raiser's Edge or Donor Perfect accounts. As you've seen, our new event-driven campaigns for your next giving day combines innovative technology, proven best practices, and a comprehensive feature and functionality set. This institutional control of branding, messaging, reporting, all allow for a dynamic fundraising solution that ultimately drives donations and supports your organization. Thank you. And if you want to learn more, please visit our website at eteamsponsor.com.
Wow, what a great webinar. Really appreciate our panelists, Brandy Kordaluski and Jim Abbott. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing today your wisdom, but also too, helping people with a path to be able to bridge the gap between athletics and advancement, and some really great insights from the two of you. So thank you. For the rest of you that joined us today, thank you. We appreciate you spending some time with us. Our message, we always want to make sure is, number one, impactful, and number two, it's meaningful, meaning it's going to impact you in a positive way, and it's meaningful enough for you to take what you've learned today and you can apply it on your campus. Reminder, you don't have to go at this alone. In order to be elite and fundraise more, you really need a true fundraising partner, and that's why we exist. We're here, we can help co-pilot this process with you, and we look forward to doing so. So, for all of our team here at eTeam Sponsor, again, we want to say thank you. This is Sean Connors, co-founder and CEO, signing off. Be elite, fundraise more.